roundup HITC Sport, and Liverpool are finished. Premier League champions. Embarrassing. 4-0 against Man City, and it was nearly 5. Remember that video I did last week about 11 times Klopp could have been sacked? Make that 12. Get this bearded fraud out the door. Clear out his desk, have him shaved like a pig, and dump him in the biggest puddle of pigeon spunk you can find. Premier League champions, supposedly one of the greatest teams of all time, and they lose 4-0. Absolute frauds. Strip them of their medals, tear up half the players' contracts, and sell the likes of Robertson and Chamberlain to f***ing West Ham. This is probably what the Man United fans want to hear, right? Someone telling them that Liverpool are shit? Christ them up, it's been 2 years of unstoppable winning. For most rival supporters, it's been a complete and utter nightmare. But I'm sorry, United fans, as much as you might want me to, as much as you might want anyone on the planet to, I'm not actually going to denounce this Liverpool team, alright? Twitter's been overreacting, claiming that Liverpool are an embarrassment now. No, they're still a fantastic world-class team. Sure, they lost 4-0 to Man City, but so what? Before the season started, yeah, this fixture was pinpointed as the game which might decide the title. But now, Liverpool could have fielded a starting lineup comprised of 6-month-old orphans. They could have stuck an overweight cow at left back, swapped Alisson for a teapot, and they'd still be league champions. Is anyone really surprised by this? City were always going to be the hungrier out of the two. This was a team who've been told for 3 years running that they're the greatest English side to ever exist. The likes of Kyle Walker was talking up an era of dominance, so being forced to clap another team onto the pitch. Sorry, Raheem Sterling, who left Liverpool to win trophies, him being forced to stand and applaud Joe Gomez walking past him in his own stadium. It's like being forced to watch your ex-wife make love to her new man right on your kitchen table. You're trying to eat a bowl of Frosties and he's accidentally spunking in your milk. I'm guessing half the City players probably felt like fetching up their own dinner. Kevin De Bruyne, the greatest midfielder on planet Earth, being forced to congratulate left backs who were relegated at Hull? No! I mean, look at Bernardo Silva in this moment. He honestly looks like he'd rather be sat at home cleaning out his grandmother's belly button than be on that pitch applauding Liverpool. But what's the point? It's a bit like when you see actors who lose an award and then, have to do that fake clap, when on the inside they probably feel like strangling a squirrel. I don't know why they bother, it's clearly false. So if and when I lose the Football Daily at the Content Awards, I promise you I won't be fake. I'll happily throw chunks of vomit at Chris Hamill during his acceptance speech. I won't actually do that. City were always going to be that wounded animal, ready to make their point, while Liverpool players had probably spent the last week pouring beer up their nose. Man City are the most dangerous attacking team on planet Earth. Christ, well, if they're able to win cup finals by 6 bastard goals. So if you turn out the Etihad stinking of whiskey and shame, it's not going to end well for you. So Spurs and Jose Mourinho lost again. Now I won't lie, some of the defending in the 3-1 defeat against Sheffield United, yet forgetting we're seasoned internationals, they look like actual clowns escaped from the circus. We associate Mourinho with well-organised, well-drilled and defensively sound units. In his first season in England, he only conceded 15 goals all season. In the past, Luke Shaw's complete lack of concentration used to enrage him, so that piece of defensive fluff he witnessed the other night, I wouldn't be surprised if he ordered to have them whacked. But again, on Twitter, how many people keep piping up that Jose is done? Now, I'll admit it, lads, alright? When it comes to things that I liked or admired in the past, I'm very stubborn, like an ostrich in the sand, just refusing to accept when they've dipped in quality. It took me far too long to admit that Fernando Torres was past his best. Christ above, it took me until 2012 to admit The Simpsons was now about as funny as irritable bowel syndrome. As a teenager, I genuinely sat through The Simpsons movie, trying to convince myself it was a masterpiece, when in reality, it was a 90-minute sludge fest featuring punchlines about Bart Simpson's penis. With Mourinho, yes, I've always thought that he was the greatest manager in the world. And maybe I'm just refusing to accept reality here, but I still don't think he's past it like everyone else does. People say, oh, he hasn't won a league title since 2015. But since then, he's only had 2 full seasons in charge of anybody. And in one of those, he finished second to arguably the greatest Premier League side ever seen. And he still won trophies at Old Trafford. And so now, judging him when he was only appointed in October, without a summer transfer window and already 12 points behind top 4, and he's been forced to use a stale squad who've been starved of investment for 3 bastard years, lads, give him at least a full season of charge before you start chanting Jose out. So what else? Everton fans are furious. Fabian Delph, this guy just needs to throw his phone out the window. Delete social media. Get off the internet. Because when Everton's first team went out of the FA Cup to a bunch of children, Delph then spent the night arguing with 10-year-olds on Instagram. That wasn't a great look. And now Everton fans are angry because of this photo. Listen lads, context please. Sure, Delph saying, love it mate, about a guy celebrating a title win as an Everton player, yeah, it doesn't look great. It's a bit like if he went on Instagram and liked a photo of his wife's sister posing in the nude. It's really not a good look, but lads, so what? Kyle Walker also liked this photo, and do you think he enjoyed Liverpool's title win? To him, it probably felt like having his nutsack ripped clean off his body. But before everyone crucifies Delph, we don't know the context. This random fella, a friend of Walker's and Delph's, he might have just split with his wife. Maybe his cat was just run over by a f***ing lawnmower. We don't know the context. There could be many reasons why Delph might have thought, yeah, I'll congratulate my mate. This doesn't mean he's suddenly a closet Liverpool fan, so please, Everton, stop overreacting. Who else will I talk about? Bournemouth. Poor Eddie Howe. He's getting relegated without a shadow of a doubt. Here's a clear example of a man who probably should have jumped ship 2 years ago. Fair enough, I commend his loyalty. He's probably a terrific husband who'd probably have a nosebleed if he even looked in the direction of another woman. But he should have gone to Everton when he had the chance. Sure, he'd probably have wound up on the scrap heap of sacked managers, wedged in between Marco Silva and Big Sam. But isn't that preferable to having a relegation stamped on his CV? But alright, this guy had probably learned his lesson. He was probably too scared to look outside of Bournemouth after that unhappy fling with Burnley in 2012. But it was Burnley, what did you expect? It's like leaving your wife for a 65-year-old woman who drinks pints of glue. I feel sorry for him. Yes, Bournemouth had a wretched season and deserved to go down, but he's still a good coach. Ryan Fraser, a guy who contributed 16 goals last season, he's decided not to play in case he picks up an injury which might wreck a summer move. Fraser, this is a club who signed you from Aberdeen's bench when nobody else would. This entitled spoilt behaviour. When your employers are stuck in the middle of a relegation battle, it pinpoints you as just being selfish to the extreme. Price's wife probably hasn't been satisfied since 2014. Listen, Howe has wasted money on transfers, sure. This guy clearly needs a director of football to make these decisions for him. Because I'm sorry, spending a combined 40 million quid on Dominic Solanke and Jordan Ibe, never mind getting the sack, I'm surprised he's not in prison. It's a shame, but Howe is the next Paul Jewell. Just like Charlie Sheen in 2012, nobody's gonna want to touch him after this. I just meant because Charlie Sheen is supposed to be a bit of a diva, nothing else. Alright, now, there's been a couple of transfer stories this week. Birmingham City's teenage midfielder Jude Bellingham, a fella born 1 year after James Miller's debut, he's apparently about to choose Borussia Dortmund over Man United. Christ, he's only about 10 minutes ago he was stuck in the f***ing womb. Most Man United fans probably wish that club to be burned to the ground. I'll tell you why. Not only has it sold them both Shinji Kagawa and Henrik Mkhitaryan, two men less suited for English football than a pair of diseased pigeons, they also trusted them with Adnan Januzaj on loan for a year in the hope that they might reinvigorate a bit of confidence or self-belief, only for the Germans to let him rot in adjustment for the next 9 months. Not only did Dortmund refuse to sell them Robert Lewandowski, Ilkay Gundogan or Ousmane Dembele, or release Jurgen Klopp in 2013, they're now playing hardball with Jadon Sancho and have beaten them to the signings of Erling Haaland, Emre Can, Thomas Meunier, and now probably Bellingham in the space of 6 bastard months. Christ, Ed Woodward is probably now half expecting a Dortmund fan to steal his bastard wife. Lads, how's this for a headline?
Jeff Hendrick rejects Burnley offer amid AC Milan interest.
No, you don't need to ring up your local brain surgeon. Your ears are not malfunctioning. That is AC Milan, 7-time European champions, who've now been reduced to signing Burnley players on a free. What has happened to that club? I know things were bad when they started filling their team with Sunderland rejects, but at least Fabio Marini was still highly rated by Italian scouts. But Hendrick, I mean, fair play to him. If he actually winds up at AC Milan, I'll be delighted. A Dublin are playing for one of the biggest clubs on planet Earth, but I'm sure Zlatan Ibrahimovic wound up back at the San Siro on the assurance that Milan would now finally start to take themselves seriously, fill their squad with some actually half-decent talent, trying to claw their way back to the top of the league. And their tactic is just to watch who's winding down their contracts at Turf Moor. You want Phil Barsey while you're f***ing at it. This is a European giant. Start acting like one. It's like if in 20 years Tyson Fury is forced to sell his belts, house and wife, and instead just spend his days living in a tent and selling jars of his own piss online. Leroy Sané is signed for Bayern Munich for an initial £44 million. To put in context, that is just 4 million quid more than Joelinton. 4 million quid. I would pay more than 3 flower pots and a half-eaten crunchy for Joelinton. What kind of club managed to squeeze both Jadon Sancho and Sané out the door? Two of the most dangerous wingers in Europe. It's clear to see why Sané left. Sure, he's been injured this season, but he probably didn't like Pep relegating him to the role of impact sub last year. That was a bit of an insult. So can you blame him for leaving? Oh, and by the way, apparently Milan Baris is about to retire. Could have f***ing fooled. I thought he retired in 2008. What's he been doing for the last decade? Anyway, that's it about us. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And as always, I'll talk to you in a while.